everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Silent Show. Parth is not here today. He is not being well. But today we had Ravi from Billions Network is joining. I think recently, if you are keeping up with CT, if you're keeping up with Kaito projects, if you're keeping up with privacy, AI, you will see Billions popping up everywhere. I personally came to know about Billions from a close friend of mine. I didn't know they have such an interesting journey. I think many of you will first know that Billions is kind of coming up from the Polygon lineage, and Ravi had a key role to play in it. We'll touch base on all of these fronts. We'll touch about a little bit about the key Billion products which they're building in the intersection of human and AI agents. And you'll also talk about a little bit about the growth side of things, how Billion is, a way to get so many mindshare. So hey Ravi, super thanks for doing this. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, everyone. Thank you for having me here, Satyashi. Looking forward to this interesting conversation.
Awesome. I think Ravi, as I mentioned, that Billions has been an interesting journey from Polygon and Privado to now Billions. Want to know about your journey, like how you came into Polygon and how the transition of Billions happened from the early Polygon days. We like to know it all if you can go deep in it and everything.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think so. First of all, I've been, always a business and strategy consultant for a very long part of my career, and have been working with JP Morgan, Barclays, HSBCs of the world in the financial services. Been providing emerging technology consulting as well to my clients. And this is where in 15, 16, I got first exposure to Bitcoin. And since then, this crazy technology has been always keeping my attention in terms of going deeper, learning, understanding this tech, and then applying the learning of whatever financial domain use cases I can see where they are fit from a blockchain perspective. And this is where I've been trying to see how permission network can be spin off. At the time, I was working in London for Barclays as my client, and we were trying different use cases with blockchain at Barclays. Now, Barclays has been one of the front running those days, but I soon realized that technology is not yet that mature. At the same time, financial services have a lot of compliance and regulatory aspect need to be taken care before a particular solution rolls out. And that's where I decided to start learning on public blockchains. So sometime in 19, I've left my corporate world, started a blockchain startup along with two friends, and we started offering blockchain product and blockchain services. And then sometime in the mid of 2020, it was a great interaction with Sandeep, and he offered me to join Polygon. And that's where I joined the early days of Polygon back then as Matic Network. And we have been working on the first blockchain. We used to call it as a sidechain. And that was where we have started looking in terms of scaling Ethereum. So I started working in the strategy as founder's office. And after looking into partnership ecosystem for quite some time, Polygon has another product called as Polygon ID, which was spinning off sometime late 2024. And there was a 30-member team from Polygon that also spin off with this product, and I spin off as well. And we rebranded it to Privado. That was very strategic in nature, especially because what we realize is that identity is such an horizontal use case that it should not be fitting into just one ecosystem, and it has to be more neutral. It has to work with many other ecosystem, and that's where a more neutral name, Privado, which in Spanish means privacy, we have rebranded it, and we started reaching out to all other ecosystem, whether it is Arbitrum, Optimism, Near, Avalanche, you name it, Aptos, and many other. The idea was that now we can be more neutral and we can provide an identity solution to most of this ecosystem. And then in February 2025, we rebranded Privado to PX with the idea that, we do not just wanted to be left as an infrastructure company, but we added a business layer on top of it where we have the consumer-facing application. So we have now our own mobile application and a web product, which can be rolled out to the consumers. And this is where he branded to vegans. And it has been one of the success story where, we have been trending on Kaito as number one for quite some time in the past. We were able to, have the successful launchpad and raise 5.68 million on Kaito launchpad, and, a larger community of 2 million plus registered user on our pre-registration website and so on. So I think this has been a fantastic journey so far from starting in terms of building one of the leading side chain or one of the scaling solution on the Ethereum at Polygon, which was an amazing experience for roughly four odd years. And then from there to different rebranding of Polygon ID now leaders network.
Awesome. I think as I was already mentioning that personally, when I was also came to know about Billions, I was also fascinated to know about the journey. I was aware of the Privado rebrand for Polygon because many of my friends are building on Privado because they have that, I think the vision was to kind of move beyond Ethereum, support many other chains, and, be infra stack for, ZK focused things or identity kind of solutions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think I just want to know about on that front that what exactly Billion is catering at this moment. I think even before we start recording this, you were mentioning that there's some interesting products in the intersection of human and agents, and everybody is trying to solve the human identity issues. There is newer Billions is also trying to solve the agent identity issues. So I want to know a little bit what exactly Billions is solving, and this USPs like agent identities and everything.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. If you look at the Gideon's tagline, we always say that we are human and AI networks, right? And what this mean is when we have been working towards solving the human identity for the last few years, we have been trying to see how now a new customer segment, which is AI agent, how they are going to be also needing this kind of an identity solution, right? So when we have worked for so many decades to solve the human identity, and still I would say that at a nutshell, it has not been that simplified. It has not been reusable to a large degree. There have been different ways of not bringing it inclusiveness for the entire human population. We are now seeing a growth of AI agents where now everybody may board a dozen of agents in the coming year. How are we going to be dealing with this 100 billion plus agents in the coming days, right? So this is where even the rebranding has been taken into the same form, where we are talking about 8 billion humans and a large number of billions of agents, and that's where the branding has gone in. But the intention was for this new customer segment. How can we provide an identity? How can we provide reputation? And this has been, one of our key focus area where we have been working with several AI projects and partners in terms of understanding if the agent needs to have an identity, how would that look like? And if once we provide the agent as an identity, how can we create a reputation layer on top of it so that the agent would also be able to get that kind of a service, which otherwise have to provide a PU already, right? So imagine that if you are going on Amazon, whether your agent would be able to do shopping for you, or if you're booking an Uber, whether your agent would be able to book a ride for you. But then there are blockers. For example, Cloudflare comes as the first screen whenever we go for any digital interaction, and we have to make a tick saying that you are not a bot, and then your digital journey start, right? So how are we bypassing those experiences? How are we making even some of the digital experiences more trustworthy? But the agents start pulling up this unique identity, right? So no agent can get an Aadhaar card, no agent can get a passport. Still, they need to be authenticated. Still, they need to be validated whether they belongs to a human, and then there has to be some level of repetition in order to provide that yes, this agent holds, let's say, 4.5 rating or a 5, or let's say the other agent holds 3.2 or a 5, and that would give me an idea whether I should be subscribing to agent A or agent B. So I think that is where we have been working for quite some time now, and we have published our deep trust framework in order to keep our perspective in terms of how agent identity should look forward.
Awesome. Ravi, wanted to know a little bit about your work in Billions. Like, as I think in crypto specifically, there is no role. As such, people just take a name and do 10 things, right? And but a project, it seems you have such a great TradFi experience. And then, you are one of the early Polygon members, as you were saying, and then, you have trained to certain transitions. What are the current things, you were looking at Billions?
Yeah, very interesting. And you are rightly pointing out, I think, first of all, crypto has been a fast growing space. Second, it has been always a small crypto team that has been working in order to achieve all the goals. So at Polygon, what we have been doing is never say that it is out of scope for me, and have been trying to see what we can accomplish as a small team in order to get all the milestones done, right? And I think this has been a same culture that we inherit, and we are doing similar approach when it comes to BS. So there are certainly certain areas which are my P1s, and otherwise we are a very cross-functional team, and we keep interchanging some of our understanding, market reading with the other parties, the departments within the team. But my focus area into one, which is the growth and AI partnership. So I've been working with certain projects within Web3, even extending it to enterprises and also to a couple of government-related things. This is where I have the second responsibility of setting up a channel partnership. And with some of our channel partners, we have been getting into the enterprises and government-related interactions. And the third thing that I'm looking after is mainly around the TGE. So we are onto the roadmap for TGE, and have been working with our founders and core teams in order to see how we can strategize our TGE-related activity, whether it is interacting and getting the exchange documentations, speaking with the market makers, ensuring that we are onto the roadmap for all the vendors and partners that we need for the TGE process.
Awesome. I think talking about one thing about partnerships, like as you had, working with Barclays and other big banks and corporations, how will you define the differences in terms of, working in strategy and partnerships in TradFi or Web2 type of company versus Web3? Because if we are a new set of technology and people outside crypto associated us with speculation, less of tech. And I think since there is a market and a token involved everywhere, many times people might, shy away from, hey, okay, we might not partner, or, we might not, get involved with this because there's a market attached to it, right? Mainly because AI companies which are beyond Web3. Want to know like how is it things which are a little bit challenging to crack this thing to partner with the traditional Web2 companies, and how are you dealing the entire situation?
Oh man, I think there have been a huge difference between where I've been doing kind of, I would say, sales or BD in the enterprise world, in the corporate world back in days versus what we have been doing in the Web3 world. I think the first thing that totally differentiates is the speed of the execution speed, right? I think there's a big difference in terms of how the TradFi, or let's say the corporate world, moves in terms of first of all, very methodic in terms of creating those large decks, large presentations, large RFPs, in terms of reaching out multiple levels of internal approval, multiple levels of partners involvement, and things like that. So overall, a proposal would have taken months and months in terms of multiple iterations, multiple review, multiple handshake with the partners, and so on. Wherein in Web3, it's always new. It's always agile. It has to move very quick, right? We cannot be talking about the same strategy, same use case for quite some time, and you have to be innovative. And that's where I've been seeing that, let's say, every few days I have to keep updating my pitch. Every few days I have to keep updating my interaction, my use cases, my approach, my numbers, my integration partners, and so on, because that has been, very fast moving, and it cannot be the same slide for some time. Otherwise, back in days in the corporate world, you just can change the skin, change the fonts, and some of those existing slides are continue to be valid for many quarters. But then this is very introductory, and at the same time, I believe the innovations that we are going through has been fundamentally very different, right? So you do not fear to fail fast. You have been always innovating, bringing out very latest and different use cases. Doing POC in Web3 is also faster. So working with my solution engineers in order to quickly roll out a particular idea, using the composability of Web3 and aligning them together, creating a POC and a pilot should happen very easy and fast. And that has been another powerful tool, I would say, even the Web3, where when we are going to partners for presenting our solutions, we normally just do not rely on the slides, but rather make it quickly a show and tell, and use the composability of Web3 and make it easy for the partners to understand what we'll be talking about, how that use and use of our solution would look like. So that's another interesting dimension. And the third thing is, I believe the overall industry is very receptive in terms of not necessarily making the product very super stable and going out, but rather trying it out in the early days, working together to co-create, co-build the solutions, and then try it at a scale. So I think those has been fundamental difference, where we have been seeing that there have been a lot of fast-moving things, and we have been able to experiment quickly with the innovations that are happening and catching with the new teams, and in fact, rolling it out with some of our early partners as a co-creator.
Awesome. I think this is kind of a new insight maybe in my understanding, and I think many people will be unaware because Web3 is mainly a young industry, and it's like this space is crypto and Web3 and blockchains have the many for many. It's the first sector they are working. So the problems you just mentioned and the experience in the share is new for many. Many people might not even realize the difference or working in both the things. I like to take the conversation more towards the growth part of billions. I think one important thing is obviously Kaito. I think no matter there are a little bit of might be fraud around InfoFi at this moment, but we can't discard the impact of InfoFi in the space currently. Like I think just in less than a year, the kind of value Kaito has provided both financially and in terms of the non-financial impacts has been immeasurable. As you mentioned just in the start of podcast, I think I have also personally observed that brilliance have been trending in Kaito leaderboard for a long time. There are many other projects which are listed in leaderboards having active programs and all, but I don't think everybody's trying to able to lay in that lay that leaderboard thing. Obviously, tech is important, and narrative is important, and what you are building is important. But if you can point out some actionables, what a project who is looking for mindshare or looking to use Kaito, if they can hear a conversation and can understand, hey, if I use Kaito, how Billion is using some learnings, what will be your three key pointers, like how a new project can use Kaito to maximize their potential?
You're right. I think InfoFi has, in a very short term, has been leveraged quite a bit. And there have been many products who are trying to be competing Kaido, and they have been translating their existing, or rather pivoting from their existing product offering to something which is more similar to InfoFi offering. I think what has worked for us, I would say, we have been among the early. players within the Kaito ecosystem, and we have been part of the beneficiary as well. Some of the things that our brilliant marketing king has done, whether it is in the form of rebranding to billions, which is very catchy. At the same time, the brilliant design team who has created that blue mask on the face, if you have seen that, that has been wonderfully accepted within the community, and everybody has been flaunting the blue mask on their memes, on their PFPs, on some of the articles that they have been making. That has been a virality element that has given us a lot of attraction, and a lot of new users, they are able to join us. And at the same time, I would say the overall narrative where we are talking about how humans and AI can be coming together. So I think these are like some of the key learnings in our understanding, where we have been able to do that continuous uptick into the growth charts, and it has been done very, very successfully by most of our team's effort, especially the marketing side, and we have reached to 2 million plus users on our pre-registration, which is phenomenal if you compare by any metrics for the project of our size. And we have been able to do more than 500,000 on X, 500,000 on Discord. So those are some of the numbers I would say are very encouraging for us. And the primary things are primarily related to the rebranding, to the logo design. So all the campaigns that we have been able to bring in, a lot of community attraction, our pre-registration website itself, and some of the partnerships that we have done, which has given a combination of both, that we have been able to reach a successful narrative, and we have been able to bring in a lot of parts together from a product perspective.
Awesome. I like to ask one last question before we kind of sign off from today. That's, as you mentioned, you are working in the intersection of partnership and AI growth for billions lately. AI is already huge. I think started with when GPT came. Obviously, AI was there before, but people or the retail started knowing about AI. Just after the release of ChatGPT, followed by Perplexity, Google's, and everything. Uh, Web2 AI has massive valuations. It has real world adaptability and real usage. Web3 AI is, going towards that, if I say, but want to know from you, because you are in the frontier of AI and Web3 and crypto, how you are seeing the scenes of, AI in the crypto space.
I think you're right to a certain degree in terms of saying the valuations have been skyrocketed for Web2, and I think they have been doing good also for the crypto AI projects. Where I see personally is that AI or crypto AI is going to be more in terms of innovating many new use cases and trying out what works better, what can be work faster. Again, referring to some of my earlier pointer, making the solution using crypto AI in Web3 is far more easier because of the composability aspect, right? You can plug in the payment rate from X402 very easy. You can plug in the agent registries from X004. You can use in the agent identity and reputation from BENs, for example. And I think this kind of a composability can give you a lot of muscle power in order to roll out any particular solution that you want, right? So this kind of solution, which are also focused in terms of decentralization first, whether it is the OpenAI models or open source model that Sentient is building, or the kind of a decentralized compute that we are talking about, multiple projects out there. So I think those kind of things give a lot of, I would say, agility to the young developers, young builders who may not necessarily need to have a good bootstrapping fund in order to make some product, but they can quickly experiment. They can get the initial grants from the project. They can try out with the low credits and make something which is a show and tell and go out to his fund. And I think this is where the power of Web3 comes in. And what I personally feel excited is that crypto AI can still remains as the laboratory or the experimentation lab for all things related to AI, while the actual AI companies from Web2 can be the scaling solutions, right? So this is where we may be able to see that a lot of interesting use cases can be tried out, because we can easily incentivize user. We can all go some early 5-digit, 6-digit users, but that expanding it to a real mainstream use case can be done with the help of the large big tech firms. So I think it's a win-win situation for both the segments of the startups in the AI vertical that continue to grow, and they can mutually benefit from each other.
Awesome. Thanks, Ravi. I think, it was great talking with you. I think I'm keeping this conversation short thanks to our, great attention span. It will be, we can talk more about billions and growth and other parts. I think, we'll like to see that once billion is on after the TG, maybe once the community can come up with more feedback and all. Good, very, very nice, short and quick discussion with you. Thanks for all the, insights, and, wish you all the very best for the launch.
Look forward, Pat. And also best wishes for you to continue growing up this channel. Appreciate. Thank you for having me.